Yo, what is up? My name is Olin, aka The Nord, and I'm here bringing you guys this week's Gunsmith Reset update. Like always, I'll be going over this week's field test weapons and giving you guys some venues that you can use to complete them. I'll go through the requisite guns for next Arms Day, and I'll give you the two guns that I'm currently looking at as my planned pickups for next week. Starting out with our field test weapons, from left to right, we've got the Hake AR that's looking for Cabal kills, the Suros AR that needs precision kills, two Hake hand cannons, one needing crucible kills and the other looking for double kills, and lastly the Suros rocket launcher that you will need to use in the crucible. Now as we move through the possible pickups for next week, I have to ask so you guys forgive me for any possible butchering of names as always, but from left to right we have the Suros AR-1 auto rifle, the Suros DIS Scout, the Hake Gaheris hand cannon, the Hake Ludmile pulse rifle again, and the Hake Strongbow D shotgun. Now as for our test weapon to Arms Day weapon matchups, we have two this week in the Suros AR and the Hake hand cannon, which will give you guys a chance to get a bit of a feel for what you might expect from the legendary versions of these guns. Now as for our test weapons in general, we have a bit of an interesting and in some ways unfortunate split this week. First off, we don't have any special weapons this week. We have 4 primaries and 1 heavy, with 3 of these primaries having PvE requirements and the other 2 guns having crucible requirements. So while it's kind of nice to have a little bit of venue variety, because of this variety and because of the fact we have so many primaries, this week is going to naturally be a longer one, and it's just not going to be one of those ones we can really just knock out with the quicks if you guys are looking to knock out all 5 of these weapons. Now, before I get into this first venue where we're patrolling Mars and where we'll be knocking out the Hake AR, Suros AR, and one of our hand cannons, I want to first mention a venue I've pointed out before for Cabal. It's also on this Mars patrol route. Now, if you push through the opening spawn area down through the tunnel to the hollows, there are multiple pockets of Cabal milling about here, as well as a plethora of Cabal in the building on your right with which you can slay. And this is a route that has really consistent respawn rates, and it's one that I default to and one that I've mentioned in an Arms Day video past. But for the sake of having some variety, we're going to go ahead and move on to a different one that is focused on the Scablands and Firebase Rubicon areas. Now, all along the Scablands, you'll find pockets of Cabal that spawn up constantly, and if you push back to Firebase Rubicon, you'll find an even denser population of Cabal that will easily have you knocking out your AR on the first go-through. What makes the swing between these two areas the nicest, though, is that with the Firebase Rubicon area delivering a decent amount of Scions and Legionaries, I almost said Legendaries, and the Scablands giving you pockets of Legionaries, Vex, and the occasional Taken invasion as well, there are a multitude of small enemies with which you can focus on getting your precision kills and securing your double kills. Again, the respawn rates have enemies coming up constantly, and it's easy to swing through the Firebase Rubicon area, come back to the Scablands for a few Cabal and Vex camps, then roll back to Rubicon to keep the flow going. The one major slow that I experienced out of these 3 weapons was that when I was using the double kill hand cannon, I found myself just not paying enough attention to bullet count in mag, and I would have the occasional difficulty of lining up targets for the double kills themselves. The one remedy to this, in my eyes, would be to make sure you weaken your targets that you're looking at, ensure that you've reloaded so you have the bullets that you need to kill them, and then take the extra second to be sure you can get both cleanly before moving on to the next duo. I found that the quicker that I tried to push it, the more kills I wasted and the longer that it took me. Now, assuming your precision shots register, your double kills line up for you, and you don't, have some magazine malfunctions like I was having, I see this venue taking you no more than 10, maybe 15 minutes for all 3 of these guns. Now, while our PvE weapons were relatively clean, unfortunately there just really is no good way to go about eliminating our crucible weapons. How quickly you get them done is going to really just rely on how efficient you are with the 5 bullets in mag for the Hake hand cannon, the caliber of opponents you are matched up with, and the amount of times you're able to secure and make use of a heavy ammo box. Game modes wise, while yes, it really is just your preference and whatever you feel comfortable with, I have to suggest again taking these guns to Control. Control games tend to last the longest, and they give you more shots at kills and more shots at the heavy ammo box in general, and they also just tend to give you centralized engagement so that if you don't necessarily get a kill, you can still rack up assists that also go to the progress of your guns. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I found the rocket this week to just not be worth the time and effort. There are just way too many random occurrences that can keep a player from getting heavy during the game, and there are a lot of times that a player will just get killed before making full use of the heavy anyway. So instead of trying to piece together enough rockets to get 10 kills with an essentially perkless heavy weapon, I just finished the rest of my guns and just cut my losses. Now, if you're just planning on binging Crucible and don't mind, definitely just slowly but surely knock this bad boy out. But if you're looking for speed and efficiency, which is what we're kind of focusing on with this guide and this walkthrough, the rocket this week is really just going to frustrate and slow you down in my opinion. I think it should really just be tossed out. Now that we've got all of our field test weapons done for this week, or at least all the field test weapons we want to do for this week done, we can go ahead and take a look at what guns we want to grab for next Arms Day. Now, as I end up saying every week, the guns you grab from the Gunsmith should fit with your preference, so to help establish what you're looking for, I highly suggest you head down to the Destiny Tracker database in the description and do a little research on stats and possible perk rolls you might receive on this week's guns. Now, with that being said, me personally, I find myself gravitating to the Suros DIS Scout or the Hake Ludmila Pulse for those who didn't grab it last week, or maybe you forgot it like I did. Out of the two, I'd say the Suros DIS is the most intriguing for those of you who are Crucible Guardians out there, especially since its base stats put it near the Vision of Confluence style of scout rifle. Now, if you'd be interested in seeing a little bit of this guy in action and hearing a bit more about it, we've actually had someone do a in-depth overview of this gun very recently. All you gotta do is check back in our recent videos these last couple weeks and you should see it, and that'll kind of give you a feel for what it looks like and what it feels like. Now, as for the Ludmila, it has a decent rate of fire, it's coupled with a strong stability, and it has high impact compared to pulse rifles of other foundries. So, with how Crucible is nowadays and how it tends to favor the scouts and the pulse rifles, I really truly see no reason why you shouldn't scoop both of these guys up. Well, there you go, guys. That's pretty much all I have for you today. But before I go, I want to wish you guys a happy and safe Halloween, as well as good luck to all of those who will be hitting up trials this weekend. Let's hope that things actually go as planned this time, that there's no more unwanted setbacks, knock on wood. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.